All right. I am here today with Craig Chavez. Craig, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are, what kind of work you do, what you're promoting right now.
Perfect, Tasha. It's been super great catching up with you. Really enjoyed watching your journey as well. My name's Craig Chavis. I'm a holistic business coach, and I really help solopreneurs do the inner and the outer work to create a profitable business from scratch. And so, really helping these solopreneurs go from chaos to cash flow by giving them the clarity, confidence, and commitment to stay true to their journey. So I've been doing this for the past 4 years. I'm serial entrepreneur, owned a distillery, been a DJ, had a t-shirt company, and then also exited from a blockchain startup. So just really leveraging all these entrepreneurial experiences to help people to avoid a lot of the mistakes that a lot of business owners tend to make. So it's been a hell of a journey, and I really love it.
Yes, so excited to talk to you about that journey. And Craig has a book too called Burdens of a Dream. Check it out. So Craig, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business journey? Tell me where you were at about in your business back in March of last year when you booked me for a strategy session. What was going really well in your business at the time, and what challenges were you dealing with?
So when we talked last March, like I tell people, a day feels like a week feels like a month feels like a year. And so last March, I was really contemplating launching a membership for my business because as an entrepreneurial educator, I really would divide my business into two verticals, the consulting and the coaching. And so the consulting has always been like the fuel that fuels the coaching, but I really needed to figure out a way to get away from a lot of the one-on-one coaching to go from one-on-one to one-to-many and even kind of have that hybrid approach. So I was in the infancy of launching my coaching membership when I first reached out to talk to you.
That's amazing. And now that coaching practice is going a lot better, right? So tell me, or maybe you're in a period of figuring that out. So tell me a little bit where you're at in your business today. What growth and progress have you had over the last year? We talked a little bit about how your membership exploded and now you're kind of rejiggering it a little bit. I saw you said earlier this year you were like fully paying for all your business expenses from your membership. Maybe things have shifted a little bit since then, but would love to hear a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so the membership has really undergone three different rebrands. And that's natural because when you're first figuring out like who this membership is for, oftentimes you use a lot of like your pre-existing clients. And like your alpha membership is different than your beta membership, which is different than like your first kind of live launch. Like there's a lot of strategies and tactics that go into building a really sustainable and profitable membership. But when I first launched, it was a low ticket $7 a month membership with multiple different tiers. But as I've come to understand to know my value, I had to charge my value to get paid my value. So yeah, at one point I had 80 students from 22 different countries and the membership. But I went from $7 a month to $97 a month, which may not still be the value that I should be charging, but now I'm at 22 members from 5 different countries. And I feel that like, okay, this is where I should be starting at with the price that I'm charging. And like, yes, it's still covering my business operations expenses because it only costs me about $900 a month to run my business. But is this the way it's going to be forever? No. But I know I have a membership that works now. It's in the point of like scaling it and growing it.
I love that. So it sounds like you've gone through a lot of shifts over time, figuring out like who your right target audience was, figuring out what your value is and what you should be charging, and maybe still figuring that out. It's really like you said, it's a process of iteration. And we were chatting a little bit before this and talking about how valuable it is to share that journey. And there's just so many learnings along the way. What would you say are like some of your biggest learnings that you've had in your journey as an entrepreneur?
Well, the first thing is that like before you can market yourself, you have to brand yourself. But before you brand yourself, you have to first figure out your position in the market. And to figure out your position, you really have to know who you are or what your business is all about. Like I tell my clients, in order to begin You have to look within, and you really have to reverse engineer all of this. And that's much easier said than done. But like when you reverse engineer your position to your brand, to your marketing, everything gets into alignment. And when things are more aligned, you're going to be able to attract more of those perfect fit clients that you want to work with. And that's something that I really like that you talk about is like, okay, you want the perfect fit client, but you have to know who that person is before you go after them. Marketing is a very proactive activity. You just can't sit back and wait for people to come to you. It doesn't work like that, especially in this world that we live in. So I really like that you talk about that alignment, being very, very specific about going after who you want and not being afraid to charge like your value, because people will pay you what you charge them. But if you don't charge them enough, you won't get paid enough. It's ironic, isn't it?
100%. I love everything that you said because that is exactly how my programs are structured and what I teach is structured. And I think the types of entrepreneurs that I love working with are the ones who are coming to realize that quality is so much better than quantity, right? And for any entrepreneur watching this, like if you are stressed out with your clients, like you're not enjoying working with them, you're probably working with the wrong type of client. Like you want a client that's like a joy to work with. And sometimes the problem is, like you said, that you're undercharging because those high quality clients, like they're going to see, a $7 membership and they're going to be like, oh, like that's not for me, right? Like I'm a high quality premium client. Like I want the best. So it's so important to get those things in alignment, and it makes your business so much more of a joy to run when you're working with those kinds of clients. Okay, my next question for you is, what does it feel like to be successfully supporting yourself as an entrepreneur? What have you been able to do or buy that like 10-year ago you would have been so proud and surprised and impressed by?
I love that question, Tasha, because like this is not facetious. Like I don't want anybody who's watching this video to think that I'm like some kook or some, arrogant person. But like I honestly have zero regrets in my life because like I've accomplished everything I said like I wanted to. And when we were talking earlier, it's like, oh, I'm here in Panama. I'm living the dream. Like this is a place where I've always wanted to like live, semi-permanently. And I've already spent, 1/3 of 2023, in this country. And I think one of the things that's really changed is like I was always so future oriented. But like once I realized that like the present is all we have. And so literally at this moment in time when we're talking, I have time freedom, I have financial freedom, and I have location freedom. And people are going to be like, how is that possible? Well, time freedom. I'm doing what I want. I'm talking with the person I want to talk to. I'm working with the people who I want to work with. So I'm using my time the way I want to. Financially free. Am I a billionaire or Elon Musk or a multimillionaire? No. But am I making enough money to cover my desired lifestyle? Yes, for the moment. Can I sustain that? We shall see. But tomorrow doesn't matter. All that matters is now. And then location freedom. Well, I'm here in Panama, Boca Raton, Panama. Beautiful. Working from awesome, co-working space. I'm doing everything that I said I wanted to do. Now, is this how I keep my future and continue to live this type of lifestyle? I don't know. But like I've achieved everything I wanted to achieve. And most importantly, I realized that time is gold and money is silver. I mean, we can make all this money, but if you're not putting it where you want to put it, if you're not making it work for you, then what's the point of doing all of this? So it's a very, very fascinating, question that you asked me. And like that answer I gave you is the best I could give. So hopefully it makes sense to the people that are watching this.
I love that. I don't think there is literally anything better in this world than having those three things that you talked about: time freedom, money freedom, and location freedom. Like that's being rich right there. And I also love that you were transparent about it. You were like, things are working right now. Will they continue to work for forever? I don't know, but here we are. I think so many people think that entrepreneurship is such this like crazy risky path. And I think we're seeing now with like all the tech layoffs and everything, like having a job isn't necessarily the most stable and secure thing either. So may as well get to be your own boss and have the beautiful life that you want. Like you're here in Panama, I'm here in Costa Rica. Like I'd say we're living the dream, you know?
100%. Yeah, like everything comes with its pros and cons. And it's
Yeah.
like you talk about like these freedoms. Well, the beautiful thing about freedom is that it can get taken away. That's why you cherish it. So it's
Yeah.
like me having this right now, I'm cherishing the hell out of it because I know it could be gone tomorrow. So it's like when people change their perspective on things and just understand that like nothing is really permanent, like you said, it can change your perspective on how you look at a job or, being an entrepreneur. And then furthermore, there's nothing wrong with owning a job either. So it's all about perspective at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When we had our strategy session last year, I remember you told me you wanted to make more money from the coaching side of your business. Congrats on making that a reality. I remember you said you felt like you tapped your network and had been getting most of your referrals through word of mouth, and you wanted to be better at marketing and converting cold leads. You also joined my workshop on how to start tracking your leads and take the guesswork out of attracting clients without the scary tech setup. So
Mhm.
tell me a little bit about how you've been able to transition from not being super clear on your niche and target audience to where your leads are coming from and how to convert them to where you are now.
Yeah, so what's really interesting is like we were talking about the importance of data and tracking. That was something that I really didn't understand before we talked, but then
Mm,
after we talked, it's like, wow, I really need to understand like where these people are coming from because that's very, very important on how I should approach the sales process. Like if it's somebody coming from word of mouth, or if it's somebody coming from a LinkedIn or an Instagram, those are three different types of people. And what I've realized is that I also too I need to have like a dedicated and controlled sales process. And so this has gone through tons and tons of iterations. But what I can say is that my three most recent members of my membership not only have paid me in full, but they've all gone through this really seamless sales process that has proven to work. But it's been all about data and, and building trust and understanding the type of business that I have and understanding how these sales need to occur and then just iterating and improving this over time. But I had to design a funnel, then I had to figure out the leaks in my funnel and had to reverse engineer all that.
yeah.
But that started off with understanding where my leads are coming from, top of funnel, what's going on middle funnel, what's going on at the bottom of the funnel, and just improving that over time. So I believe I've cracked the code on how to get somebody from cold to customer. And that happened a couple of weeks ago when I got a referral on LinkedIn, and this person wound up buying in full on a Sunday in less than 15 minutes. But it's because I had that strategy and I had that attention to detail from top of funnel to bottom of funnel. And you really helped me to understand that.
Aw, that's amazing. That makes me so happy to hear because I think people get so intimidated by funnels. But the fact is, there is a journey for your user. There is a funnel, whether you consciously design it or not. That person is going through a process of deciding whether or not they're going to work with you. And your job is to figure out, who do you want to work with? And how do I help them get to that decision faster? How do I give them the information they need and a structured process that's going to make that better, not just for me, but also for them, right? So I'm so happy to hear that you figured that out and cracked that code and that you're getting more pre-qualified, higher quality clients as a result of that. That's amazing. My next question for you is I want to hear a little bit about both the tangible and the intangible like growth you've had over the last year. For example, like more confidence. It sounds like working with higher quality clients, creating new programs like list or group growth. So like think about Craig a year and a half ago and Craig now. Like what are the biggest differences?
It's night and day. It's completely night and day because like this is one of the things about being a coach that's so unique. Because like what I'm selling people is a future personal and or professional transformation. And the grand irony about kind of like the world we're in is that like you can't want change but not want to change. And that's the biggest issue with anybody. But with me being like a coach, I have to first coach myself. I have to first lead myself.
Yeah.
And I can't tell my clients to do X, Y, or Z if I haven't done that already.
Yeah.
So having to literally, physically, mentally, and spiritually embody everything that I'm preaching has been so difficult because I didn't have to do that being a DJ. I didn't have to do that selling liquors. I didn't have to do that selling technology. But coaching by far has been the most rewarding and the most difficult, you know, entrepreneurial venture that I've gone on. So for me, like tangibly, obviously, like I'm making way more money than I did. Like I made more in Q1 of this year than I did my entire first year of business when I first started.
How much
But
was that?
it's taken 4 years, so that I made 50K
Yeah.
in in Q1.
Amazing.
And that was more than I made in all of 2019. Like
That's
when I
more than a lot of people's full-time salary.
yeah, and especially people of color too,
Yeah.
which is another topic for another day. But obviously the money has come in, but like who I am as a person is night and day as well. Like
Wow.
I'm way much more confident in who I am. I'm not really comparing myself to others. I understand that like this is a journey against myself. And that's really that's the only thing that's important because like I can't force you to do anything. I can't even force myself own self to do anything. But by embodying everything that I preach and practicing what I preach and practicing what I practice, like I said, I'm definitely more mature. I'm definitely a lot more humble, a lot more grateful. But then I'm also a lot more aware of who I am, where I'm going, and like how I need to get there. And it's been a lot more difficult. It's a much more easier said than done. But I'm just super grateful for this entire process.
That is amazing. And I think you are so inspirational, Craig. And I love that you are willing to like transparently share your journey. Like, I think that's one of the big problems we were talking about earlier with the internet is like too many people are out there being like, oh, it's so easy. Like, my life is so perfect. Everything is amazing. And you're like, no, listen, it was really hard. I'm doing good right now. I don't know if that's going to last for forever, but let's enjoy it now. I think that's so amazing. And you're such an inspirational speaker as well, like so many little gems. Like I can tell that you're an author because like you speak almost the way something should be written. Like it's so beautiful and polished.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, my last question for you is what advice would you give your younger entrepreneur self?
I mean, Tasha, you're asking very, very deep questions. It's not like surface crap, you know? So the advice I would give to my younger self is I don't want to sound cliche, but it's really about trusting the process. Like there's been so many times in my journey where I was just like, I have no clue how in the hell the next dollar is going to come in, or how am I going to get through this next month? How is this bill going to get paid? And the grand irony is that like stuff has always worked itself out. Like just a quick aside, like before I started this business, I was applying for literally dozens and dozens of jobs. And I tried to work for a certain VC firm and they rejected me 3 times. The irony is about a year ago, I needed a major flux of cash flow and I had no clue where I was going to come from. But that VC firm that rejected me 3 times ended up hiring me as a consultant to solve a problem that they had kind of created for themselves.
That
And
must
over
have felt really good.
Oh, completely. And a year later, I've been promoted twice. I went from just a mentor. Now I went to a DI consultant. Now I went to an advisor. And these multiple different title changes just shows the type of value that I bring forth to the table. And it's been a really interesting way of coming full circle. But I never would have expected that. There's no way in hell you would have told me that would have happened.
Yeah.
And even though things are changing, I'm glad to say that experience with that VC firm was like super, super rewarding. And I can't wait to see what's next, but I just have to trust the process, as scary as it sounds. But I know something is bigger and better is around the corner.
Yes, I can't wait to see what's next for you too. I have loved following your journey and getting to play a small part in it. And thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today, Craig. I think you're so inspirational, and thank you so much for sharing all of that.
And thanks for connecting with me. Like I too admire the way you built your business. Like I said, this coaching and marketing world can be very, very murky, but you're super authentic. You two are very transparent. You practice what you preach, preach what you practice, and that is rare in this space. So keep doing what you're doing, and you two inspire me. And I was glad and honored to learn from somebody who's built a really, really successful but authentic business as well.
Thank you so much.